Now, before we get into Naihanchi Shodan, I just want to say one very crucial, very important thing that I learned from my instructor in when it comes to trying to figure out bunkai, the applications behind these techniques in our kata, and that is the answer is never apparent and never the first thing that we think of. And so you'll see I'm very hesitant to tell you that this is a punch. I'm very hesitant to tell you that this is a block. How do we know that this is some kind of parry? I'm deflecting a punch, deflecting their arm on the outside. Maybe it could be a backhand slap. But all joking aside, and again, I could go back and tell you about some references in history that make this comment as well, that there's all kinds of bunkai. The important part is that you think outside the box. The moment I tell you this is a high block, this is an outside block, you'll begin to think and train like that. But keep in mind, everything in Karate Do is multiple things. Even when we talk about our hitike. With that being said, I will not be telling you the names of each movement in the kata, telling you this is this, this is this. I'm simply going to say, as this appears, as this looks, and it's up to you to decide what you want it to be. Another thing that I learned that's very important with bunkai is that when we learn Naihanchi Shodan, it's a very two-dimensional kata. We go one way, we go the other, and we end up back where we started. However, when it comes to bunkai, as I learned from my instructor, you can take this side-to-side motion and take it forward. So our first motion in Naihanchi Shodan, we're going to open up the foot, we come here, striking out with the open hand. But of course, in my bunkai, I can have that coming forward into an elbow strike. In other words, wherever your opponent is, orient yourself to that opponent and apply the kata. And so let's dive into Naihanchi Shodan. When we do this kata, I'm going to break it down very slowly for you. And of course, I'm going to do it at different speeds and different angles so that you'll be able to practice it at home. So let's go into Naihanchi Shodan. I'll just start in my attention stance with my toes pointed at 45-degree angle. As I come up into Yoi, I have my right hand into my left, palms facing up. As I calm down, I'm going to bend my knees, and I'm going to have my left on top, my right, bringing my hands down. From here, I'm going to look to my right, open up my right foot. I'm going to do a large sweeping motion with my legs with my left first. So again, open up my right, large sweeping motion, stepping in front of my right, my left. I'm going to bring my right leg, large sweeping motion. I'm going to step out. Again, straight into my Pinan stance here. And as I do that, I'm going to come out with my right hand here. Notice my other fist came to hikite. I'm going to strike with my elbow, bringing my hand to my elbow here, my right hand. And now I'm going to look towards my other adversary, over my left. I'm going to do a low block, and I'm going to do a punch. I'm now going to open up my left foot, two sweeping motions, starting with my right leg and my left leg. Same thing on the other side. But now, as I step out on my left, I'm looking forward. I'm going to do that back fist. From here, we'll do a double strike and block, bringing my right fist toward in, here. So I end up with my left out and my right in a bit of a low block. You can think of it as perhaps a back fist and a low block happening at the same time, although ideally it would most likely be an outside block, traditional palm in, and a low block. So back fist, I'm going out, I'm going to do an outside block with that low block. Back fist, outside block on my left, low block on my right. From here, I chamber, and I do another back fist strike with my left hand. And as I do that, I bring my right hand up to support. It's called a supported back fist. From here, I look to my left, I parry, deflect, I kick my left leg, bring it in here. It's very important to have this angle right here. I don't want my shin absolutely perpendicular. I want it at this angle. So from here, I'm gonna look towards the left, deflect the kick, land. I'm gonna take this back fist, and now I'm gonna do that inverted back outside block as we did before. Here. Notice how I went from palm facing towards me to palm facing out. I'm going towards the right, and now do the same thing. Carry my right leg. Bring that same technique from before in towards my left side of my head, and strike. From here, I go into Kamai, and we're going to look towards the left, and I'm going to do double punches. What look like double punches. And now, we are halfway through Naihanchi, and here's the rest. We're now going to do the same thing on the other side. And so, I'm going to do what looks like an outside block, both an open hand, because I'm now going to do the same thing at the beginning of the kata. I'm going to come here, open hand, outside strike, bring fist into hikite, and the exact same thing. Now my right, I'm going to do an elbow strike, bring my left to my right, look into my right, low block, punch. Low block my right hand, punch with my left hand. And now we're going to move in this direction. Open up my right foot, 2 sweeping motions, left, right. As I step up my right, I'm going to look forward and do that back fist strike. Exact same thing as before. I'm going to do outside block, low block. I'm going to end up with my right hand on top, left hand, low block. Bring my right hand up. Exact same thing as you guessed. Do a back fist, but supported with my right hand. I'm going to look to my right, deflect the kick. I'm going to strike, inverted outside block, palm out. Looking to my left, deflect the kick, and strike with an inside block, palm facing in. From here, kamai, which means one fist on top, one fist on bottom. I have the bottom fist pointing up, and right fist as if I was about to do an outside block. In other words, thumb pointing up, palm facing up. So this one has the palm facing up. This one, I can do a thumbs up here. Think of it as, we also call it the tea and saucer. So here's the cup, the tea, and the saucer right here that you would drink from, but they're fists. So, cup and saucer come out. From here, I look to my right, and I do my double fist, my double strike, right hand lead. And then I'll look forward, come here, feet together, pointing forward. Exact same thing, right hand on top, palms facing up, but this time opposite. As I breathe out, my toes come back out into our attention stance. Bring your hands to the side, Yude bow. And so that is Naihanchi Shodan. I know it is a lot. My advice to learn this kata is actually how people used to learn kata back in the day. Back in the day, teachers wouldn't say, do this strike, and then do this strike, do this with your right hand, left hand. That is not how they used to do it at all. Instead, students would watch their master perform a kata hundreds of times, and they would then try and do it themselves. And of course, as they try and do it themselves, the master would guide them along the way and make corrections. And so, that perfectly complements what I told you before about how people used to learn karate. That's why I'm so hesitant to tell you, oh, this is a strike, this is a block, because really, everything in karate has two purposes, if not more. So a strike can be a block can be a strike. But I don't want to get caught in the nitty-gritty. I don't want to constrict your mind when it comes to Bonkai's application, telling you this is this, because now you're only thinking in one dimension. So the better thing to do is instead, from this point forward, to watch the rest of the series of videos of me performing this kata, and instead just copy what you see. That's how I learned it from my instructor, and I believe it's the best way to learn it without trying to get caught in the weeds. and the complicated names and so on and so forth. Just simply copy what you see. And over time, these things will begin to flow together. So I will now perform Naihanchi Shodan as I will every other kata throughout your belt rank system, throughout Kandaryu. I will perform it at narration speed, as we have just done. I will perform it at a slow speed, at a normal speed that I expect to see during your test. And I'll perform it at mirror speed, which is simply so that you can watch and do as I do in the exact mirror. And I'll also do it from a rear view. All these things are to help you as much as possible. Naihanchi Shodan, slow speed. I would like to now share with you 2 bunkai applications for this kata. Obviously, there are plenty more, and hopefully these will give you ideas to come up with some of your own. If you look back into the name itself, and even if you look into the stance, and of course Chinese martial arts like Kung Fu, it all goes back into close-in fighting. And so a lot of these things have to do with grappling, manipulation. There's a very popular style of Okinawan martial arts that has to do, it's very similar to judo, a lot of throwing. So a lot of martial artists would seek that. And so just keep that in mind, and you'll see that with the second bunkai that I share. And it's not all about blocking and striking. So our very first bunkai I'm going to share is the very opening of the kata. I just want to explain some of the things that people find very strange. And the first thing they find very strange is this opening move. What am I doing here with my feet getting into my pinan stance? Well, I just want to say I was taught that as I open up my foot, you have to imagine a course is called inside fighting. So my opponent is pretty much right next to me. And as I'm advancing forward, this right here, the reason why I bring it up and over is to add power.
So now I'm striking with my heel directly on their shin. And then they're standing right here. So I'm gonna strike with my heel, or I could even curl my toes in and scrape with my nails, the nails of my toes, and then step out and begin my attack. That's how I was taught. One bunkai that I came up with very recently through my training in Yoshikai, because there's a kata that starts off with a sequence of movements of these very four moves I'm about to share with you, is a parry of a kick. And so, as I'm stepping across here, this is where the next move comes in. And so, I can be doing one of two things. A kick could be coming my way this way, a round kick, mawashi geri. So as it's coming in low, I'm going to, as I step out my right foot, I'm actually going to meet it with that inflection like we talked about before in the kata, this deflection. I'm going to knock it to the side, knocking them off balance, and then begin my attack. Knock it to the side, begin my attack. The one that I like the most is that as I'm coming around here, I'm actually reaching out, I'm pushing my opponent off balance. That way, as I push them off balance or grab their shoulder, leaning my weight into it, I'm getting all their weight on their back leg. So then I can come over. I start with that first strike of the kata. I come over, knocking them off balance, and now I'm going to sweep that foot with my right leg, the one that has no weight on it. So I'm coming around. I want to push and strike. A second bunkai I would like to share with you that also looks strange in the kata. I'm going to grab their lapel, their shoulder. I can grab the back of their leg here, and this right here could also be a grab. So I can strike, bring my hand around to the back of their neck, use this hand to grab perhaps under their sleeve, and I'm pulling them in to that kamae position, or pulling their arm in to that kamae position. And then from here, I can roll their neck over and then toss them to the side. But I was taught that these are throws. Again, all going back to the meaning of the kata itself and close fighting, and going back to the origins of what karate was on the island of Okinawa, a lot of grappling manipulation, joint locks, and so on and so forth. And so hopefully that will give you some inspiration on how to think outside the box. Again, why I'm so hesitant, perhaps when I explain the kata to you, we're going through it step by step on naming these techniques. But that's everything you need to know for your first belt rank test examination. And I hopefully I've given you all the tools that you need. If you have any questions, you can contact me. Let's go fearless, and I can't wait to see you in your next exam. Oops.